back to our, I guess, Overwatch 2 podcast, whatever we're going to call this eventually, if we're going to call it anything. I am Nathan Narwhal, and with me is...
Sebastian Green Balloon Hogan.
And I'm Eddie Fun Phoenix Peterson.
We're here to talk Overwatch 2 to some extent. I mean, we kind of have array of panel, I guess you could say. Sebastian, I guess you could, I don't know if we could call you an expert.
I prefer the term aficionado.
Okay. All right. I'm somewhere in between where, like, I was watching, I played the beta, I was watching some matches of the Overwatch League, but I am not entirely detailed and everything.
Yeah.
And then Eddie,
I know like nothing. I
Okay.
mean, I'm just here to I'm the comedic relief. I'm just to keep everybody honest.
We got a miscellaneous gamer over here.
Yeah, I mean, like, you get it. Like, I mean, even from, like, I think Overwatch is pretty simple to understand at some points. Like, you come from League.
Yeah, I mean, I'm definitely like very, very much in like the general esports community. Super, invested in that. So I've seen a lot of stuff related to it, but I haven't played it at all. And I've played very little Overwatch, but I've played some.
Okay, yeah, because, I mean, Overwatch 2 is the same game. But
Yeah, right? That's what I've been seeing everywhere. I think overall the initial reaction I've seen, at least among my friend group, was, oh, it's neat, but it doesn't necessarily feel like its own unique game.
Yeah, I mean, like, we can go into it. I mean, Sebastian, let's hear, like, overall, I guess, thoughts at first. I mean, you didn't get to play the beta, but at least watching it.
I did get to play the beta, a bit on my friend's account. I hopped on the kind of new Reinhardt, dominated with relative ease, and decided I was destroying my quick play matches too easily and hopped off. But yeah, I'd say the main issue with it is marketing. They definitely advertised it as like a fully formed sequel, and a lot of people are under the impression that the PvP isn't going to be free, which it is. And they think they're getting charged $60 for a new hero and a couple of new maps, which isn't the case. I don't really know who the blame falls on there because Blizzard didn't communicate that super well. And also is really early in beta. Overall, I'd say I like the changes they've made. I think 5v5 has been a good decision overall, but I think for them to capture the general audience, they are going to need a lot more heroes and maps for sure.
I think, like, I mean, whatever, Activision Blizzard aside, whatever they've been going through for the past year, obviously terrible things. I mean, yeah, Yuki said the new reworks and stuff that they have added are nice. But I think, I think even from the beginning when Overwatch 2 was announced, it seemed like the marketing was, no one knew what it was.
Yeah.
They said that there was a story mode coming. They were going to change multiplayer and whatever. But even then, people were like, yeah, we're going to get charged $60 for a completely new game. But, I mean, it's not necessarily like, they just haven't marketed well. I don't understand, like, why they aren't just, like, coming out and, like, saying things. They're having these, like whatever developer updates every so often that they haven't really answered, like, the more general public's, like, questions more than they've just been, like, just reiterating the same things over and over again. And for people that, like, play Overwatch, get it. Like, they get that, like, it's not going to be $60. It's going to be, multiplayer is going to be free. You're basically all going to be playing for the story mode and stuff or whatever.
Yeah.
But for, like, the more general audience, no, the people that just, like, had to watch OWL for the beta key or whatever, and then hopped in as like, this is what I'm getting for $60. Like, that's what it's come to at this point.
So my understanding is if you have an Overwatch 1 account, you get the Overwatch 2 PvP for free.
Yeah.
And then you have to pay for the PvE
The
story mode thing.
Yeah.
But if you don't have an Overwatch account, you have to buy basically Overwatch 1 and 2 PvP. If you buy, like, can you buy Overwatch 2, you don't get access to Overwatch 1, right? Like, are they still different games?
I'm assuming they're just gonna, like, revert the servers and like make it separate, like make it like one thing. But, like, then again, that's also, like, the whole thing is like it's like people that say they jump right into Overwatch 2. Who's to say, like, you can't just be like, I want Overwatch 1 though? Like, why can't I just have that? But like the beta, it's literally like on the Overwatch 1 servers. Like, they didn't separate it. It's not its own thing on BattleNet or whatever. It's, like, literally under the category of Overwatch.
Okay.
Yeah, it's just a different region is how they select it. they're not in the good side of the court of public opinion right now for sure, because each video they drop is like their new lead designer with like bags under his eyes looking at a teleprompter like dead in the eyes, like we're just really sorry about everything that's happened in the past 2 years and we're gonna fix it, I promise. And he said that like 5 times in a row. And we got the maps are at different times now.
Day becomes night, night becomes day. Let's go.
It really does. To be fair, it does throw you off. Like,
Yeah.
I mean, like, but at the same time, like, the graphics still look slightly better, but at the same time, it is just nighttime.
We're not playing Overwatch for the graphics.
Yeah.
I mean,
it's just like they really did. So like, I mean, going into the reworks, too much Orisa. If she does too much damage, that's a whole different thing for me as a very more casual player. But I like the reworks for Orisa and Doomfist, at least on the tanks.
Yeah. They also did some for Bastion and like Sombra to a lesser extent. And there was like a minor graphics overhaul. Like they gave people a couple of new outfits. But I don't think like the difference maker for anyone playing or not playing Overwatch 2 is like whether or not you can see Winston's pores.
Yeah.
Like
I need to be able to count each individual fur on his head, or I'm not playing this game.
Well, it's funny because I thought they announced all these new visual changes to all these characters that we love. Bastion's gonna get a little hat, or whatever they were gonna do, and then the beta comes out and they all look like normal.
Yeah.
Although I do think that's a good decision. Like I feel like you don't want to change the identity of your game too far from these characters everybody knows and loves already.
It's weird to like announce. It just felt weird. Like again, with all the communication that there like hasn't been, it feels weird to like announce so much stuff for this game that was announced at this point. How long ago was it announced? I guess like 3 or 4 years.
Yeah.
Ago? Like it's been a long time. And they just it doesn't seem like for a first beta. I guess first beta. Okay, whatever. But it feels like there should have been maybe a little more. Like
yeah, for sure. Yeah, the reworks in particular though are all designed around making the tanks feel more like the anchor of a team rather than like a big sack of meat to be hit and fed ultimates through, because the tanks have a new passive that says they get less ult charge from being healed and being damaged, so it's harder to farm nano off of your tank. It's also harder to like just hold left click on a hog as Reaper and get your ult. I like that change a lot.
Well, the big gameplay change was they moved from 6v6 to 5v5, and they took out a tank, right? That was the whole idea behind it.
Yes, and it. On one side, you've got the fact that you're never going to see like a Reinhardt Zarya comp again, which is sad, or a Diva Winston, any of those classic pairings. But like at the same time, that one tank that you have now is getting a lot more attention from the healers, and it feels like they have a lot more impact because they are always the driving force of the team, and that's not being split between 2 people anymore.
I do like the changes, and I like he said like they are more of the driving force now. And I like that they've become like, I don't know, they all feel like bruisers, I guess. Like they all do damage and they all like can soak up so much more damage. I just feel like they just need to maybe like just think about reworking more. Like Diva to me doesn't feel like, I guess at this point they all should feel like main tanks. And they're just like the off tanks. Like I like Zarya the way she is now with the 2 bubbles and that whatever. And I think she feels more like a main tank now with that at least small change and whatever health, whatever shield armor thing that they gave them all increase. But I think like people like Diva need to be maybe reworked into like some weird way where they feel more main tanky.
For sure, yeah. Characters like Diva, who were these like pick one target and dive heroes, are just a lot less effective when supports have so much more agency now, because it's really hard to lock down a single target when you're now getting kicked away by Zen or slept by Ana, all of which all these supports are healing themselves passively. So it's a lot harder for a tank who's designed to select one target and kill it herself to do so when they're healing passively.
Yeah, I mean, you said the passive for the tanks. I mean, now damage dealers have the passive of just moving quickly.
Yeah, 10% faster. It feels like they thought through the other two role passives a lot more than the DPS one for
What
sure.
do we need? We need a DPS one too, guys. We can't just ship half of our cast with an upgrade and
God.
not the other half.
And then supports just got like, I think the support one is like perfect because they all got the old Mercy passive where it's just like they now heal just passively because they're healers, and I think that's so much better than like Baptiste, who like couldn't really heal himself even with his own little nades or anything.
Yeah.
Or like Ana always had to use like a nade on herself to like heal up. So like even those, like as a support main myself, I enjoy that. But then just DPS just got like I'm gonna move a little tiny bit faster.
It's almost a detriment because for some hit scan characters like Cassidy, you're like used to leading your shots in a certain way as you're moving, and it's really tough when you're going slightly faster. Yeah, the thing is also with the supports is Mercy is juiced because her passive stacks with her old passive. So now if she's left alone for I think 1 second, she's regenning health at like 50 HP a second or something crazy like that. You have to pounce her and you have to finish her off like immediately when you're diving.
Well, then I mean like getting into even the smaller changes, they added like in 2 patches, like Mercy can now like super hop and like infinitely fly for like out of ultimate, which is just like okay. They keep like adding little small things to like give into people, like giving Zenyatta the kick, which is like
So
good.
rad.
I like it, but it doesn't make any sense. Like it's just one of those things that's like, oh, another thing to boot people. Okay.
Yeah.
Which I mean, like it's fine, but Zenyatta needs more than just a kick for him to be viable. But it's like they just keep adding these little things, like, ooh, here's a little patch with a little kick, and you guys are fine, right? You guys are not gonna say anything more. Don't say anything bad about
What do
it.
you mean? We gave you a kick, Zenyatta mains. Don't talk to us. Like, we gave you what you wanted.
Exactly. They're like, ooh, you wanted like a sort of rework or like something to do with like his Discord ball or something? Nah, we're gonna give you this kick.
But the sad thing is that I'll take it. Like
Yeah,
Overwatch
exactly.
1 players are so starved for content. Like Overwatch 1 players, anyone who didn't get access to Overwatch 2 hasn't gotten a new hero since Echo, and that was over 2 years ago. And the balance changes have been so infrequent that like Zen being able to boop someone with an ability that's already in the game, like Lucio's boop, feels like a significant amount of content compared to what we've gotten before. It's sad, but it's also kind of fun because it shakes up the game just a little bit, the stuff like that.
I think that's just like them I think it's like weird like them to be like, hey, you guys should pick this a little more in Overwatch 2. Like, I think they like really want to see some like weird numbers where they're like, okay, everyone's being played, guys. Like, you guys can't say anything. Everyone's being played. Like, we don't have to rework them if they're being played. If we give them this tiny little kick too, I'm like, okay, it's whatever at this point. Like, it feels like also like between here and whatever, the next beta is like basically in a month. Or whatever it is, even sooner, whenever it is.
They're doing a real life Sombra ARG again, where they pulled the beta and then they just posted a thing. I think it just said June 16th, with no additional news. We don't even know if that's when the beta is.
They said that there was gonna be multiple. It just feels weird to be like, I don't know when it comes out if there's gonna be even more new stuff. Like, there's not gonna be any more reworks because they did not announce any more reworks.
Yeah.
If they just surprise drop a rework, I would be completely surprised by Blizzard in general because they. I mean that's a whole different thing. I mean, the thing that just got leaked about them and their characters, the way they design, is like a whole different story. But they just, I don't know what they're doing with this month.
Yeah.
It definitely seems like a bit of disaster, whatever is going on behind the scenes there. So
No.
I know, crazy hot take, right? Scalding hot, but
the entire state of California is suing them.
Yeah.
I think like it'll be interesting to see at the end of the day what Overwatch 2 looks like at full release compared to what we saw in the first beta. And if it looks like a very similar game, I think that'll be a huge disappointment to a lot of players. But I think if give it 6 more months. Again, I don't know when Overwatch 2 releases, like officially.
We do.
Okay, nobody does. All right, I'm in the same boat as everybody for once.
Pro
Let's
players
go.
don't either.
Yeah.
It's insane.
So like if in 6 months they're like, here's Overwatch 2, and it's the same thing as the first beta with a couple differences, I think it'll just be widely regarded as a failure.
Yeah, for sure.
It'll just have to depend on both when does the full game drop and how much more, how much, is it significantly different from what we've seen, or is it basically what we know we're going to get plus the PvE?
I think we've got to rely a lot on how good that PvE is. And honestly, I do have like a significant amount of hope for that. They've been really cagey about giving us anything PvE, which hopefully means that it's
either
not,
really good or really bad.
Yeah.
It's one of the two.
It's like it's either in development hell or they actually have a lot of cool stuff to drop all at once.
Yeah.
That's the
Or they're
hopium.
just putting all their teams into that, and it's going to be
Yeah.
like the best thing ever.
Yeah.
And that would actually make some
Right.
sense compared to what we've seen so far content-wise from Overwatch 2, where, there's been a lot of sort of smaller changes to a lot of different areas, but nothing huge. I think, like I said, I think the biggest change is probably 6v6 to 5v5.
For sure.
But that wasn't, like, hard to program. Like, you didn't have to put a team on that for, 3 months on
Yeah.
how do we make this game a 5v5 game.
Yeah.
Balance-wise, sure, but not content-wise.
Yeah. It's almost like they were like just taking stuff away and calling it content. That's kind of interesting.
Ooh. I think it's really interesting because I always thought of Overwatch as the 6v6, the 2-2-2 roll queue was such a big part of that game.
Yeah.
So it really surprised me when they were like, yeah, we're dropping a tank and it's 5v5 now. And I was like, okay. I
Almost
mean,
like they just they don't care about the past anymore, because even just stuff before roll queue, before they decided that they wanted to do 2-2-2, even something as way back in the day as the goats meta, which is literally go all tanks and supports, that's literally what the abbreviation is.
Really?
Stuff
I thought it was after a team. I thought
it
a
was
team named
it
Goats.
was a European contender.
Yeah,
too,
that-
but it's the thing is go all tanks and supports.
That's cool. I
It
didn't know
works,
that.
yeah.
Yeah.
All right.
It goes both ways.
Yeah.
But it was it's stuff like that where it's it feels even in Overwatch 2, I thought they were not gonna give us roll queue, and they just gave us roll queue, but no one likes roll queue, and no one in Overwatch community has been let's keep that. Let's make sure
Okay, so
that's
Sebastian,
in
I'll
Overwatch
ask you, since you're the Overwatch player here,
Yeah.
not to go against the casual players here, but what do you think of roll queue both in Overwatch 1 and now as it's 5v5 in Overwatch 2?
I like it. I'm a big roll queue fan. I want to hear what you have to say. Why do you think it's a bad idea?
Everyone was just complaining about queue times, but that's that's just whatever because of whatever they designed. But in general, I just didn't like roll queue. It felt fine for competitive aspects. If I was gonna play ranked, like League, you hop in, you put that you want to play support or mid or whatever, right? That makes sense if I'm going into a ranked game because when I'm going into a ranked game, I'm playing competitively. I'm gonna play the role I know how to play the most. But quick play, I'm just it's annoying to have to hit fill or hit or tank. I just want to play. I just want to hop into a game and play whoever I want to play in a quick play game.
Mm-hmm.
I don't want to be designated to having to play a certain role if I don't want to.
But that's why there's open queue. There's open queue quick
Well,
play.
now there's open queue quick play in arcade, but that's just because everyone was complaining.
No, it's actually a part of the quick play feature on Overwatch 2, right? I feel like it is. Oh.
Yeah.
Well, okay. Never mind then. I like it because it makes the game a lot easier to balance because say you increase the power level of healers across the board, it's a lot easier to balance when you only have to account for 2 of them being in any given lobby.
Mm-hmm.
If I can make a team of 4 healers and 1 tank in Overwatch 2, that could very easily just be dummy busted. And I would rather them focus on balancing each of the heroes around the amount that you can have in a role than trying to think of every possible scenario with the different amounts of damage, healers, and tanks you could have on a team. Also, the way tanks are in Overwatch 2, I wouldn't want more than one of them on a team. The way they're designed.
That's why I just want it for quick play. I just want to be able to do that in
Mm-hmm.
I just want that they would just give it to us even in the beta, just give it to us for fun. Okay, if I want whatever, just 5 tanks for some weird reason, in quick play just for fun on the beta, I would have enjoyed that. That's the only thing. Like I was just like, if they were gonna give us competitive, I would have been fine with that. And that I mean, Overwatch in general tries to tend towards like the Overwatch League as their basis to like buff / nerf their heroes. So it's like yeah, if at that point that's fine. Like then you can do whatever. But yeah, I mean the 5. I just wanted them to like give us competitive in the beta, like at least something. Like,
yeah. I think if there were more people in the beta, competitive would have been doable. I don't think they should be balancing around Overwatch League players anymore because those dudes are just cracked beyond belief. And why should little Timmy and Bronze as Tracer get nerfed just because there's one dude who's ridiculous at it at the highest level of play? Like,
I mean, that's always been a struggle for games that have sort of champions like that. Like, as somebody who plays a lot of way too much League of Legends, Riot Games has to decide between balancing things for what the pros are playing and balancing things for the average player, which is in silver. Yeah. And like, it's really hard as a game designer and balancer to how do you decide? Okay, well, pros are picking Orisa every game. I don't know if they're
not.
Okay.
She's got a
donut bad example, I guess.
Right
but whatever it is, they're picking this one character in every game, but it's not proving to be too good in solo queue or ranked queue. Like, what do you do then? Do you let it? How do you nerf it for just the pros? It's just a big discussion and a hard cookie to crack, I guess.
You remove one of the tanks, so they're 50%.
There you go. You wait 3 years, you drop Overwatch 3.
They cracked it.
For real, it seems like that at this point. But yeah, I mean, like, yeah, it's the same thing. Like, I think League tries to, like, when they release their, like, buff or nerf thing, like, every patch with their little whatever graphic they have, they, like, tell you why they're finger buffing it, like, based on
they're like, we're trying to like, this is a buff at rank, so it's like, there's, like, competitive, and then there's, like, skilled, and then there's casual, and it's like, okay, we're nerfing this character in casual, and this is the nerf, and they sometimes explain it, but...
Would it be nuts to have the pros just on a different patch than everyone else? Like...
I think it's not necessarily, it's just
that'd be interesting.
Yeah.
It'd be like, I mean, that's a lot of work for... I mean, that's a lot of work for them. And I don't think that would ever happen for, like, almost any game.
Yeah.
But, like, it would be interesting to be like... whatever, like, can't even think of something off the top of my head, but like, oh, okay, now we're nerfing Widow because last week
she was first in pick rate.
Yeah, like she's like last, whatever, because they did that for a little bit where like
they did the weekly
the weekly
they did hero pools. They were hero pools, and they were random, I'm pretty sure. They weren't based on pick rate, so you'd get like, oh, the tank of the week that everyone's playing is banned, and also like Torbjorn, and then you'd be like,
cool. Not Torbjorn.
I think it was a little bit based on pick rate, but it was past a certain point. So like, if it was past 40%, like 40 or 50%, it was more likely to be banned than if it was like less or something like that. Now that, that was a weird time. Where like May and basically Ryan was just banned every week because everyone picks May, which is not necessarily that's basically the same thing that's still happening now or whatever. Yeah. I mean,
they don't have any hero pools in Overwatch League right now. It's actually pretty balanced as I'm seeing it. The meta is like Ana Lucio for the support line nearly every time, and then you're alternating for tanks usually between a Winston. You're almost always locking the Winston and Owl right now. Some teams are playing Reinhardt with the Rush, and then your damage line is like Soldier Tracer. Some people are playing an Echo, and some people are playing a Genji. It's like different between those four picks.
Finally get to like, it feels like it's been so long since we've seen a lot of players that are like you get signed to a team and you get like, everyone sees like the compilation of like their blades or whatever, like it's on any game, whatever, you get like their biggest plays or whatever, and it's like it's always the Genji plays for Overwatch players, and it's like I just want to see like some good skill, like even Tracer, like that's just fun to watch.
I want to see Mei hold down left click on someone until they die.
I want to.
It's skillful. What do you mean?
I want to see.
She doesn't freeze people anymore.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it just slows
slows.
down, and now her left click's like a crazy damage beam that ramps up. It's like basically Symmetra's, but it doesn't get ammo back on shield, and it slows. It doesn't freeze fully.
Okay.
Though. Her ult's the only thing that freezes fully now. Oh, I slipped my mind. Doomfist is also getting played by like Houston Outlaws and Atlanta Reign nearly exclusively. It's like pretty much relegated to like 2 Western teams. But he seems to be like falling out of favor because he's getting countered kind of hard because Ana is so prevalent, and his main like defensive mechanic, his power block in Overwatch 2, does not do anything to stop sleep. So he goes in there and just immediately just conks out every time.
Takes a nap.
Yeah.
Sleeping on the job.
Did he get like? Did they like make him bigger?
Oh yeah.
I was like, that's what I was thinking when I was
That's
playing it
funny.
the first time, because like they like obviously making him a tank, they were like, we gotta make him bigger.
Yeah.
because
They made him a
he's big-
tank?
Yeah. he's
Yeah.
a tank
Oh.
now.
He was already like a pretty big character model as a
Yeah.
damage character, but like he bulked up. He was eating his like
He
whey
hit the
and
gym.
protein powder.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's pretty large now. He's a big target.
Because I think it took me a second to realize when I like first played it, and I was like, obviously like, you know, you hop into the practice range and you're like playing them, but then like you play against Doomfist and you're like, they like when they're like moving across your screen, or you're not realizing it until like they stand right in front of you, or like someone's on your team.
Yeah.
You're like, they just made him bigger too. They just
Uh-huh.
like they literally just went like
Scale the size of it.
120%. Like they really just made him slightly bigger.
Yeah.
And I was like, okay, I guess whatever, he's a tank now, whatever it's gonna be.
I'm not biased. My Battle.net isn't called Pro Doomfist, and I haven't been one-tricking him in Overwatch 1 for a couple years. So it's my place to say that I think I like his one-shot toxic Overwatch 1 self a little more than the Overwatch 2 iteration. Just because I used to be able to hold right-click and delete someone from the game and have them uninstall, but now I have to, plan out my attacks? I have to like actually aim with my primary fire.
I mean, like, he doesn't have like, he doesn't have better rollouts now, but like I remember watching like Chipsa play Doomfist, and whatever rollout he decides to do, those are always cool to watch, and it feels weird to not see Doomfist do a rollout like across 10 buildings and then just land on the support in one, like just instant kill them. Like it's just like, okay, because you have to be the tank now. Like you are the tank, you the front line. You can't just like, it's not like the weird assassin almost.
His role now is less so to get picks like it was before, and it's to set up your teammates to get picks. His punch, when it doesn't have the charge up from his block taking damage, it's a wet noodle. Like even if you fully charge it up, it's doing like 50 damage. Even if you're hitting somebody up against a wall, maybe it's 75 fully charged. It's like he's existing to set other people up. So Doomfist players are probably going to be disappointed with the damage output they have. It's just an adjustment to play style, basically.
I mean, Doom's a tank now.
I'll take your word for it.
Yeah, I mean, he's whatever. As on the opposite side, I'm the resident Bastion main.
Oh,
okay.
On my other account, I have two accounts on Overwatch 1.
I forgot that guy was in the game. How'd you like him?
Yeah, I enjoy Bastion. I mean, he's my favorite character in like all of Overwatch. Like in general, I have like the little Ganymede plush, his little bird.
Oh.
Or whatever. I have a shirt.
I liked the cinematic.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Beautiful.
So onto like a very serious topic. How are you feeling about the hat?
I like the hats actually.
Oh.
I actually do like his more. It's grown on me more I look at it. At first it was, I like the hat. I don't like how round he is now. I don't like how round he is. Eddie, I will pull up a picture for you.
Yeah, you'll have to. I was gonna say I don't know what you guys are talking about. I'll just take your word for it.
I'll pull up a picture for you. But he is just round now.
They replaced his chest with like a Froyo machine.
No way.
Yeah, I'm
He,
lying.
he gives you frozen yogurt? That's sick.
His hat's from Torb, I think. Torb
Yeah,
gives him
it's
the
like
hat.
the lore for it
Yeah.
or whatever.
Overwatch players and their lore.
Yeah. For when that was sort of a thing, and they actually had a like story coordinator that like released comic books and stuff or whatever.
Is that gone? They don't.
Yeah, they
Yeah.
fired him.
Yeah, they fired him
okay.
a long time ago,
Um,
or he left because of creative differences.
Right. Probably.
Yeah, those
So
creative
that's what he looks
differences had nothing
Okay,
to
I
do
feel like
with
that's not that different though.
No,
like that, I
it's
feel like
not.
they put like a trucker hat on him and
Yeah.
then
Exactly.
I don't know there's that much difference.
That's why like it's fine, but like he's just too polished.
Can we see the hoodie that Genji found in the Lost and Found?
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
I'd be curious to see like if I think an interesting change would be, or not like a change, but like a small nice feature would be they could have like the classic versions of the skins from Overwatch 1,
Yeah.
and then it would be a skin you could
So
use.
here's Genji
Instead
that
of-
now wears streetwear.
Oh, he's dripped out. You mean?
Yeah, no.
Look at
Genji's
those
dripped to the
pants.
fullest now.
He
Holy
spent
crap.
at least $200.
He got some Nike shoes too. Yo.
So like, this begs the question: was Genji naked before?
Ooh. I mean,
Was he just?
I mean, I guess kind of, right?
Yeah,
Like,
he was just strolling around.
lore-wise, that's like basically his body because
Yeah.
you can't get out
It's
of it.
always been like a gray area for cybernetic implant kind of deal.
So he's a ninja who needs to be quick, silent, discreet. Why did he
Mhm.
think the gray hoodie would be the most aerodynamic option?
It's actually to blend into the background. You know, like the neon lights on his
Yeah.
bodysuit sort of weren't cutting it anymore. So he
Yeah.
put like a black hoodie, black pants on.
Oh,
Yeah.
Go to the actual
Don't look at the
website.
neon green stripes on the pants, but
No. And like the massive war cry he lets out whenever he pulls his sword.
right, it's
Mm-mm.
it's for the lore.
It's okay. I'm gonna call it to the actual one because it's just too good. Some of them are like
Yeah.
you can even like
The-
do the little thing with them.
Oh,
where,
that's
like,
cute.
where you can see them.
Okay.
I
back and
see, I see.
forth,
Lucio's
or-
elbows were cold, I suppose.
Yeah.
I like the Reinhardt one's probably my favorite. I just love his beard and top knot look. He looks like a samurai or something.
Come on, where could they? Yeah. They really went with like I think like it's across all the characters. Like all these way more round pieces.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Like they look way more soft.
Yeah.
I don't know. Like
I think they want you to want to cut.
I like
Reinhardt.
old Ryan more.
Yeah.
I like him without the helmet.
I'm not a
but
fan of the yellow.
I like the
actually.
helmet.
I like the helmet, but I kind of like him without it. Like on just the base skin. Like
Yeah.
there's some of his normal skins, like whatever it's legendary skins that are like look really nice with the helmet.
It was
But
it was too hot with the helmet on. He was
some of them in Tracer just looks.
Well, that's what happens when some of the maps turn to night. Like you had to
Yeah.
turn to day. You had to take the
Yeah.
helmet off.
And
All
Anubis.
of
Cool off.
Winston's,
He's getting cooked alive in here.
they look all of Winston's like just top hairs now.
Yeah.
But,
Let's
Like-
go.
Is he rocking a mullet?
probably, I guess.
Oh, I guess he always has been. Like, this just doesn't seem necessary, does it?
Yeah, it's a very but why?
Yeah.
You know,
It's like, all right.
I guess so.
Yeah.
I mean, it's whatever at this point.
Mhm.
Overwatch 2.
We haven't even talked about the new hero. We've got Sojourn.
Well, I haven't because I don't know what the new hero is. So
She's got a railgun and she's got a little Zarya ult attached to her arm, and it's her tactical ability. It's like this
Okay.
little slowing ball that does a little bit of damage. She's got
Okay.
like an Apex Legends power slide.
okay,
It's pretty
okay.
cool, and she has a gun with 2 firing modes. One's like a
Paintball
Fat-
gun. That's what it
yeah,
was
fast-moving projectile,
Okay.
like LMG, and then the right click on it is a big like beam railgun shot. It's hit scan, and as she does damage with the left click, it charges up the right click, and when the right click is fully charged, it one-shot headshots,
okay.
like a widow shot. It's just
Okay.
like a super gnarly skill shot you've got to do.
That's kind of cool.
Yeah, and all her ult does is make that thing charge really fast, so she can let off a bunch of railgun shots at once. It's I like the direction they're going with that, actually, in that you have a very high skill, small time limit, transformative ultimate. like we don't have a lot of really high skill ceiling ults in the game. It's like Dragon Blade, Pulse Bomb,
Nano.
yeah.
Yeah, the really hard ones. Yeah.
I think it's literally just Dragon Blade and Pulse Bomb and her ult right now.
Yeah.
Oh, Primal, Winston's ult.
I don't know if that's necessarily like it's like high skill to like if you're gonna play like Winston at like top 500 level.
Yeah,
It's like
I mean,
a skill, but like I would
those
say
guys
it's
juggle
close.
like maniacs.
Yeah.
Yeah.
True. That's what I'm saying. Like at some point it is like a high skilling ult, but I wouldn't like say it starts off at that because like someone that's just hopping into Overwatch 2, like I don't think they're gonna be hitting all those railgun shots because it's weird. Even I was like,
so all the Valorant players are gonna migrate over, and like the Chamber players are gonna be like, it's the same ult, let's go.
Yeah, exactly. Like it's just gonna be an op.
I just click on their heads, guys. Like it's not hard. What are you guys doing?
Yeah. But I mean, I like it. I think I like her. I like Sojourn. Obviously, you said she's not being played at all in Overwatch League.
Nah, Soldier's just better right now.
Yeah, and I found that out for myself. I was like, I'm gonna play Sojourn, and then I was like, I don't like her to play because I'm bad at this game, sort of. And then I just play Soldier, and I'm like, this feels a lot better.
I love seeing the legs in the Overwatch League.
Yeah. Oh yeah, that too.
Yeah.
She's got freaking massive calves.
Does she?
I was talking about Soldier. Yeah, people call him the legs because he's the only character in the game who can sprint. But yeah, she's got some voluptuous thighs, doesn't she?
Yeah.
Sorry, they're robots.
Moving on.
Sorry, the Overwatch player just came through for a second.
Yeah, that's right.
But yeah, I mean, I like her, and I think she's like good. I mean, I honestly at this point I don't care for if things are being played in the Overwatch League. Like, I mean, I think she's fun. She feels like, for Valorant, I guess, sake, like she feels sort of on the same thing as like a Neon, where she's like, just you kind of run everywhere, or like or like you
and
just
slide
so much
and,
abilities, like so much movement, sort of thing. Where like it's fun. She's like a fun character to play, and I'm like, okay, that's okay, and I don't care if they're being played in some pro, even in whatever top 500 games, if at some point.
I like her slide a lot. It's probably my favorite part of the kit. The movement's really cool.
Yeah, that's what I was like. Yeah, when they were just like, yeah, she's like basically the Apex slide, and I was like, nice. And I was like, okay, this like okay, sort of take that from something else, but I mean like everyone's doing like slide stuff.
Yeah,
but like
Fortnite's doing slide stuff.
Yeah, I was like,
who isn't sliding at this point? I mean, I definitely think like as somebody who and I may get crucified for this, as somebody who loves Super Smash Bros. Melee, I love seeing games add high skill ceiling and more movement options to their games because I think it really, allows games to sort of create a gap between the players that are just casuals and the players that really know how to maximize their characters and really, can do things that a normal average person couldn't.
Yeah, just unlike Melee, I can see what's going on when Sojourn is moving around.
Fair enough. Fair enough. It's not everybody's cup of tea, but it's the sickest esport of all time.
Really?
Yeah. We're not here to do a Melee podcast.
No,
but I would happily run one. So
I'm a Bowser main in all games. So
okay, you don't want to play Melee. No. You don't want to play Melee. Yeah.
I'm saying over here, I'd play like the thick boys, like ultimate, but like I mean King K rule is like it's a little much. Like, people think like it's cheese, but that's fun.
It's fun.
I like to play Donkey Kong, so it's whatever. Yeah, then again, we're not in this podcast.
Yeah. When's the Melee podcast, guys? Come on.
Yeah, but I mean, same thing. Yeah, like she's fun. We can move on to casualness or whatever.
I mean, I hope that I hope like one of these betas will have easier to get keys because then my friends and I can hop on and goof around on it because for me, I have pretty much no desire to play Overwatch at this point because I play League of Legends and I have an addiction. So I would do it if all of my friends were like, we got in the beta, let's go play some Overwatch 2 together. I'd be like, all right, sounds sick, but otherwise
they went the like Valorant beta route where they were like, watch your favorite streamers and you get a key, but if you don't, you gotta wait another week, and that's like,
or win the email lottery, right?
Yeah, whatever.
Yeah.
Like, even then, I didn't see much that people were getting emails right away. It felt like it was the streamer thing. That's what it was.
And it was huge, right? I mean, like it had 1 million viewers on
Oh,
Twitch
yeah,
for the
it popped
24
off.
hours, and then it went back to 1,000 viewers.
It was something like number 3 peak viewership on Twitch of all time. It was
Which
crazy.
I don't think surprises anybody, given how popular Overwatch historically. I mean, maybe it isn't the most popular game right now, but I think historically it has been at least a higher tier esports in terms of viewership.
A lot of people, like, it's trendy to hate on it now.
Yeah.
But it still has a really dedicated, like, fan base for sure. And they showed up.
I think it is like huge like fan base. Like I feel like NA, you know, whatever. Like like love to hate on Overwatch, but like Europe and like Korea and stuff, I feel like still love Overwatch. Like I remember like seeing some of those like EU teams when they had like the homesteads, you know, before whatever COVID and stuff like that. Like they had crazy crowds. Like the EU teams had crazy crowds, and I think that's where a lot of it still is like in other places besides NA, but there's still like, but there's so many teams here that it's like.
I also think part of it is like Europe and Korea and China. I think esports is just I don't want to say like a bigger deal because I don't really know, but you know, especially in Korea and China, and I think to a certain extent in Europe, like it's a much trendier thing, I want to say, to like go watch an esports team. Like every CS:GO major I watch, they've got huge stadiums that are always sold out, and that's almost always in Europe. I mean, and I feel like those events just maybe they don't exist in NA quite to the same extent, or they're just not as popular, or I'm just in the dark about them. But I think it's just something where it's maybe more of a cultural thing to just like, yeah, it's cool. Let's go watch the ESL game or whatever, you know. And that's not the case for
like there's
NA.
Sorry.
No, I was done.
There's esports like cafes in South Korea.
Yeah. I mean, South Korea is like such a terrible example because like they're like the most popular man is Faker in like Korea, you know, like you know, it's just one of those things.
But I didn't know stuff was so popular in China. I thought they were on a downturn because of like the gamer ban. Doesn't everyone have like a set amount of playtime now?
I don't know.
That's something I didn't know that.
Like,
right. I mean,
there's like I don't think I'm losing my mind, but I think there was like some kind of nationwide gaming ban.
Yeah, that was
China.
that was like months ago, right? They were like, you get like 6 hours on the weekends or something. Like,
it's like it's just the entire country decided to be everyone's mom.
It's China. I don't think too much about it.
I didn't know this was even a thing. I have to look this up now.
It's
I don't know how much truth there is to it either.
Yeah, how do they regulate that? I have no idea. The Chinese
NordVPN sponsor us. But this would be our shout out moment for you guys.
The Chinese teams that are in the Overwatch League right now, which might just be Chengdu Hunters. I could be wrong, but that roster's imploding. I don't know if that's a great sign for like Chinese Overwatch League, but I think the only representation they have, their roster is just dissolving.
Is Overwatch a game that has historically been dominated by Koreans?
Oh yeah,
just like every other esport.
Yeah, pretty much.
Every domestic team is mostly Koreans at this point.
Yeah.
Okay. Do they not have like import rules like League does?
I think there's like 2 rosters in the Overwatch League that are entirely North American. It's like Houston and Atlanta.
Are the 2 people picking Doomfist and losing?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Everyone else has at least a couple Korean players. The majority on most teams. Like Dallas Fuel, I think, is all Korean.
Yeah, that's what I like, the Dallas Fuel.
Yeah. Well, you just did you watch that game with Gladiators?
Yeah, I did.
I'm a Gladiators fan, so that one was depressing.
Yeah. I mean, it'd be like that. It's funny because like I'm from California, and most of the time I like to pick the California teams to root for. But I went to the inaugural season of the Overwatch League in LA for whatever when they had showings there, 2018 or whatever it was, 2017, and that is when XQC was playing, and I got a picture with XQC.
I think I've seen that picture.
Siegel, Tavik was there, and I have all their signatures on a piece of paper from the Dallas Fuel
Damn.
at the time, and I was like, because going into the Overwatch League, I was like, I like. It's then again, I didn't pick an LA team. I actually liked the Houston Outlaws, and I was like, but now I gotta like the Dallas Fuel, and I just been riding with them just because I have a photo with XQC and Siegel and stuff, and I was like, I guess so. I have like their jersey. I liked when they added more teams and they added the Paris Eternal because they're from way back in the day in the APAC tournaments for Beta, and they were Rogue. They're owned by Rogue. So I was like, okay, so those are my two teams, separate divisions. I was like, Dallas and Paris. That's fine.
Yeah.
I think Overwatch League is like a domestic circuit-based sort of league that, if I understand correctly, is sort of similar to like the NFL. Like they have like regional-based teams that fight each other, and then eventually they
come together.
The regions will come together and then fight for the championship. I think from an esports perspective, the Overwatch League is really interesting for that reason, because we don't really see that sort of, I guess, like franchise-based. We've got teams from Atlanta and Houston and Dallas. Like we have these real-world places. Instead, you look at games like Call of Duty and League of Legends and Valorant. It's like, they're these big org names, not these big, regional-based forces. And I think, I think Overwatch. I wish it would have been a bigger deal than it is, because I think it'd be really cool to see that kind of thing for other big titles like League or Valorant or whatever it is.
Even Contenders Overwatch doesn't have franchises like that. Like they're not named after locations. It's like O2 Blast, American Tornado. Like
okay,
they're just like it's like the amateur tournament. It's just like just group names that people come up with. So where we get like some weird
bird noises.
Yeah, it's like just like funny stuff or whatever. But I mean, you said COD is franchise.
It is?
Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, Activision Blizzard, they were like, what we did with one, we got to do with the other one. So
I forgot they do COD.
Yeah. So they did do franchises, but I think it's all domestic. Like they're all cities in NA or whatever. But there are mostly like, I think the Optic one is literally just called like Optic whatever city they're in or whatever. Like it's
Optic Oakland or something.
Yeah. Or like I think the Phase one is the same thing, where it's just called like New York Phase or whatever city they're in. But it's like they're franchise, but they're mostly related with the names that
with the org.
Yeah.
Okay.
You guys want to start Phase Eugene?
Let's go Phase.
No.
What would your guys' Phase clan names be?
I mean, if we're just using gamer tag, then just be Phase Narwhal.
Bro, Phase Phoenix.
Yeah, that's good. I like that.
Okay. Well, I brought up the question. I didn't have one in mind.
Phase Doomfist one trick.
Yeah, that works.
Phase Doom would be pretty cool.
Yeah.
To weird tangent to what also you said is that Valorant is weirdly looking at doing something like the Overwatch League. Like
that'd be sick.
They put something out like I don't know if it was last week or the week before, where they're like, starting after this next VCT, we're gonna start doing something like franchising and like kind of like the Overwatch League was doing, where like when they first announced like this path to pro, where like you start and you like on the leaderboards and then you can go into amateur tournaments and then become a pro player and stuff. Like the Overwatch League like said all that before. It never happened. Like Contenders was supposed to be that, but it's not really that. And Valorant is like sort of doing that now, and they're like thinking about doing that, and they put out a whole thing about it. But at the same time, like, I mean, it might be the esport to pull that off, but it's very weird because, I mean, like, esports is like, we don't know how to be pros, but I'm sure it's a little more than just being whatever.
It's obviously
top 500, whatever, you know, like, it might be, like, political, I guess, or whatever, right? Knowing people.
Having the right connections,
like
sure.
Chipsa got on Philadelphia Fusion because his brother was the head coach.
It's like,
I mean, like, part of it's I'm also probably just exhausted with like League of Legends from a competitive standpoint of like LCS is just so boring to watch, and LEC is like a pretty similar standpoint where it's just like these 10 teams. I don't think LEC is 10 teams, but I think LCS is 10 teams where you generally know which orgs are going to be at the top because it's Cloud9 and they're the ones that have the most money. And it's like I get why they're why it's laid out that way, but it's also like who cares?
LCS is like probably
it's a joke
easily the hardest esport to get into. Like you're not getting on an LCS team by just
chance.
Yeah, you literally have to either know someone or literally be.
You have to be good and know somebody, right?
Yeah.
Like that's at the end of the day.
And
we still lose to Koreans, so it doesn't really make any difference. But
and it's sad in general. But
check out the MSI podcast that will be uploaded in a couple days after this one.
Yeah, I mean, going back full loop back to Overwatch, that was a long tangent. But yeah, I mean, we talked about Sojourn and stuff. I mean, we can kind of end it now, I guess. Sort of just kind of final thoughts on like, you said like pace of the game. I mean, like your overall experience. I mean, you kind of said before, but now you're just overall thoughts on Overwatch 1, Overwatch 2, Overwatch League at the moment.
I think 5v5 is a good launching point for this game. They need to deliver on the PvE to like appease the casual audience. They also need more maps, more heroes at full launch, and I'd prefer it if in these series of betas that they're rolling out that they sort of drop in 1 or 2 new heroes each time, because their original claim was that when the full game launched they were going to have 9 new heroes. But I like the direction they're taking tank design, and I don't have super high hopes for Overwatch League next year, because they are running out of sponsors like bad. They're bleeding money, and in the production it's like pretty apparent.
Not our Cheez-It group.
No, the official drink of the Overwatch League, Coca-Cola, not anymore.
Okay, I just found out that you can still buy the official Coca-Cola bottles on their website still, though.
What, the Overwatch League Coke?
Yeah, like I can buy ones from 2019 Grand Finals.
Wow.
Of the San Francisco shop.
Gotta pick those up.
Right now, their sponsors are like a trading card game, and then the thing they use for in-game voice chat, and that's it. And it's rough. If you guys tried to watch like the weekend 1 of games, they were operating it like a PowerPoint. Like there were like 3 frames during certain team fights. It was gnarly, and it wasn't just the live stream. That's on the VODs. You can still watch those right now. It's like the files got corrupted. It's bad.
Yeah, they had a whole problem the first weekend that they were something with the whole stream in general, because then they had to like come out and be like, next weekend's gonna be better, everyone, because they just found out that the stream was just running really badly, and they didn't really explain it, but they were just like, it's going to be better, we swear.
That was last week?
Yeah.
It did admittedly get better the week after, but it seems like the only through line with Overwatch 2 development, Overwatch League, Blizzard in general, is frequent apologies with no payoff.
And no explanation.
And no explanation, yeah.
Yeah, no real communication at all.
Well, that's a dour note. So I'd like to say that I actually think that they will deliver on the PvE. I think it's gonna be good, and I think when the full game comes out, if they do it right, if they wait long enough, if they polish it enough, it will actually be, I think, the return to form that Overwatch 1 was.
Okay. I mean, the stuff that we see from at least the PvE, not to get too much in detail, 'cause it's sort of wrapping up, is like, it looks like it's going to be like a lot of fun, like some of the events when they first come out and stuff, but now it's just like competitive, it's just like repetitive for those events, so it's like doesn't matter. But like the like weird like almost like what's the Borderlands type of like skill tree like sort of system they're doing seems like fun for heroes. Seem like a little like variable with all the heroes, seems fun. But I mean, Eddie, do you have any like, I guess, final thoughts? Like, what have you learned today?
Well, the new character is just Chamber with a neon dash. That's about it. They went to 5v5, I guess. I think from somebody very outside the scene, I think my understanding is it's kind of a failure at this point. And if we don't see, at least some sort of bigger changes and additionally a strong PvE, Overwatch 2 will be a failure. Maybe that won't be the case, and hopefully I'm wrong, but I think in terms of AAA studios releasing big-name games in the past 5 years, it's been pretty disappointing, with a couple of exceptions. So we'll see if, Blizzard, well known for their... Never mind.
What are they?
We'll see how good or bad it is, but I hope it's good for the sake of the community.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, it's really has been like a roller coaster. Like you said, it's like it's good looking at it. Like some of the stuff, it feels good to play. Like it's fun.
It doesn't look bad at this point.
It doesn't. It's not like they've made some changes that like on the outside when they first said them would have been terrible. And then for some reason they sort of have pulled it off up to some point, you know, with just this being a first beta. I mean, if we were just like given this as Overwatch 2 PvP and they were just like, here it is, like it would have been like, what is this?
Yeah.
But now that they're like, like giving it the beta tag gives them a little leeway where you're like, there's has to be more. So like, it's like a little halting, but it is disappointing. I mean, we didn't talk about push, but I personally find it to be it's not. I'd like 2CP.
It's a new game mode.
That's
it's like a tug of war basically.
Okay.
Where one team's trying to get both teams are trying to get this robot to push their little barricade to each end of the map, and having control of the robot determines which way it's being pushed. So it's just like a back and forth, but it can feel very snowbally because if one team wins the first fight, they get a lot of momentum. And also there's checkpoints, and when a team gets there, their spawn gets moved forwards while the enemy team's stays backwards. So I think the mode is good in concept, but is really prone to snowballing, which was the issue that they had with 2CP in my opinion. So that went unsolved, but I like.
But now it's a new mode, so they what do you mean
now
it's
you're
changed?
gonna push a little robot.
The robot guy is very cool, and I like him very much.
That's all I'll say on the matter. The robot dude, 10 out of 10. Got nothing else to say about
That's
that.
what I have to say.
Like, I thought the same thing. Like even I can't imagine. I mean, like I watched. I mean, a little bit of Overwatch League, and like it is even in my matches, it felt so snowbally where literally, it was just like if you won first fight, it's getting pushed to the end, and there's very little to stop it unless whatever you pulled off some sort of miracle. But then again, it pushes back the other way, and your team is already almost there before it even gets pushed back a majority, like back even to the middle part. So it's just like it feels like nothing. It feels like you're not doing much when you're on the losing side.
But there are those rare push games where it actually is a consistent back and forth, and I'd say like in those like maybe 1 in 10 times it is like peak Overwatch when that robot is actually going back and forth and being contested by both teams. It's just rare.
I liked my like 8 2CP where they're just down to minutes and they're just getting them over and over again.
Yeah, those were the days when I was like 15 and it was like time for dinner, and my Hanamura 2CP map was going for like 50 minutes, and I'm just trying to like crank out that last point so I can get up and go.
One more round, Mom. One more. It's 5 minutes.
No, because it like you get to the point where it's like a minute left for you, but then it just gives you another minute if you get both checkpoints. So you're just like keep going. It's literally like nonstop. And
Push doesn't have that problem, at least.
It doesn't have that problem.
Yeah.
It's a little. It seems like I don't know. I feel like they should just like I mean, I don't want them to put in like competitive. But I feel like they just should just give us back 2CP just for fun. Just give a little fun. Like with the new changes, if they give us 2CP with the new changes, I feel like it wouldn't be more fun, but it'd be like, okay, we can kind of see how this works.
I just realized, did they take away more maps than they added?
Well, yeah,
because they took away all the 2CP maps.
Yeah.
And they added, what, three maps total? The 1 hybrid and 2 push?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Well.
So they did technically...
we lost
they did
map
definitely
content.
lost more things than we gained. And they like.
But now damage can move 10% faster. So I mean,
that's the end of it. That's, I mean, to be fair.
And we got Dorado at nighttime. That's
yeah, let's go,
everybody.
baby, let's go.
Yeah, I mean, that's the end of it. That's our Overwatch 2 podcast at that point. I'm Nathan Narwhal.
Sebastian Green Blue Hogan.
And Eddie Fun Phoenix.
Yeah, and check us out on our YouTube channel, all of our other podcasts, as well on twitch.tv/University of Oregon, all spelled out like that, where we cast League, Valorant, Overwatch at times, Hearthstone, Call of Duty, I always miss one.
Rocket League.
Yes. Yeah, but check us out over there.